This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network.
The Dullards Club, in a futile effort to maintain our ever-dwindling pop culture social media influencer status, books many imagined and fake celebrities to join us in the opening of the show. But this week, we struck out. No one showed up, and we were desperate. We needed an opening sketch for the show, and the clock was ticking. Then, luckily, a guy stumbled in off the street with no direction home, who said he could do an impression of Timothee Chalamet impersonating Bob Dylan. He wouldn't give his real name and didn't want to show his face. Here is his audition tape. Tell us what you think. Did I mention we were desperate?
Come gather round Dullards, wherever you are. Whether home, at the office, or stuck in a car, there's a podcast that once was conceived in a bar, for which we are constantly lambasted. But ready or not, now the show must go on. Hope your time will not be wasted. All listeners, viewers, and followers too. When you're home and you're bored and have nothing to do, you can join us, pull up an episode or two. Because Dullards are uncomplicated. We are humdrum, uninteresting, lifeless and trite, but the show goes on unabated. Well, nobody knows how this show can survive. 15 minutes of schlock that's recorded, not live, though the jokes and the bits may sound somewhat contrived, and your memories being erased. You can bet you'll hear something that jumbles your mind, but the crime is time being wasted. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I don't know when you when you take this program in, but we are calling this this meeting of the Dullards Club for Men and Women to order, and that may be the only orderly thing that happens during the course of this program. But I'm Pat, he's Don, and
you're you.
We're going to do what we have been doing.
Yep.
And you're going to find out what that is as we move forward.
Is it a promise or a threat? That's for you to determine.
And you've actually been a very busy guy, and we have maybe even an announcement or two.
We'll hold off on that just a tad. Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
I did have one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm going to do it now because I meant to do it last week, and I totally forgot until we adjourned the meeting.
Right.
We went through the holidays, and we never discussed the holidays themselves, but more particularly in this case, I wanted to touch on New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you. I haven't done them in years because I always fail to keep them. But I did make a concerted effort. I wanted to try to do one particular one that's so much relevant to sort of this program. And that is, I have been known to make fun of people who do certain things, wear certain things, the backward hat, whatever it is. But my resolution, Pat, is going to be to make fun of the stupid things themselves, not the people. Don't make fun of the people that do the stupid things, but the things themselves. I don't know that I'm going to be able to, and my first little bit is probably going to throw that right out the window. You want to hear it, or do you want to interject something first?
No, I want to hear this because I have something, but I think it would be more pertinent after you've done your thing.
Okay. Here it is. What possesses someone to wear a bow tie? You don't see it often. And generally speaking, most of the people who wear them all the time. They sort of get dressed. It's not a one-off. What possesses one, aside from the inconvenience of it, unless you get a clip-on like we did in elementary school? What do you think?
Well, first off, I was going to take exception to your bow tie reference.
I know. I thought about that after I started saying it.
Been to a number of semi-formal events.
I'll buy that. A formal event or semi-formal event?
Yes,
I'm talking about.
We're talking black tie here.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay,
but
that makes sense.
The whole tie is part of the persona. It's very similar to the hat. In the way that many people who wear a hat like a fedora or a pork pie hat or something, that hat actually becomes a part of who they are. That they don't go outside without the hat, if for fear that somebody might take a picture of them and they wouldn't have the hat on, so you wouldn't recognize them. I was going back to your initial premise there, which was the whole resolution.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I'm never a big one for the resolutions. I think, as you have referenced, I've outgrown them. Mm-hmm. I know that they're not keepable, but I will tell you there is one that I've tried recently, and it did not work out well at all.
Okay.
It was the idea of dry January. A lot of people do dry January to try to maybe cleanse their entire body of
get some brain cells back,
so on and so forth. Yes, and try. Although I understand they don't come back, but it has killed me, and I'll tell you why. It's because I feel terrible because trying to catch up during February for everything I missed in January is just. I decided
I hadn't thought of that aspect.
It isn't worth it. I just say let's just keep a normal flow going throughout the year, and that's
a zero-sum game.
It's better. Hey, I was also just curious about this one thing, and there was an article that I read in my news feed.
Yep.
And it really, what the article was about is almost irrelevant. In fact, it is irrelevant. But the fact that they were talking about an octogenarian that was experiencing this particular situation.
We're getting there.
Well, we are, but I guess the question is, at what age do you become a genarian? Where it is somehow, you're no longer, a middle-aged person or a young person.
Right.
You are now a genarian, and I think it starts around sept.
I'm just going to say, septuagenarian, I think, was the most frequent time I've heard it.
Right.
That's when I started hearing it. That's
interesting. It implies old person.
Yeah, well.
But it's just a way of saying it. But at 30, you are a tricenarian.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, I don't think anybody really knows it. I had to go and research it myself. But nobody uses it anyway because you're just in your 30s. You're in your 40s. You're in your 50s, beginning to think about becoming a genarian of some sort.
Halfway there, buddy. I have another sidetrack. What a surprise. The other day, I don't know if I was watching a clip of, I think it was a Gene Wilder documentary. And they had a clip from Stir Crazy. And I said, I wonder whoever came up with Stir for prison. Because I've heard the term before. It's like, oh, he was in Stir. It's like, that's an odd name, an odd word for it. And Stir Crazy is usually, it came from that. But I actually looked it up. Do you know, before I go on?
No, I certainly do not. I've
Any
heard
thoughts?
The term. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, being in the slammer,
right.
Going to Club Fed.
Yep.
But as far as Stir is concerned, I mean, it's just something that maybe
only convicts know.
Jimmy Cagney might say in a 1930s movie.
Yeah.
But,
well,
I
I did look it up, and it says the origin of Stir is uncertain, but some sources suggest it is a shortening of the Romani noun stiraben, prison, or verb starapen, to imprison. Others connected to the Start, a nickname for the Newgate prison in London, which later broadened to mean prison more generally. So there is no definitive answer. There are a couple of guesses, but I just found that very interesting. Slammer is kind of obvious. I mean, door slams, whatever. But that struck me as unusual, and I can thank Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor for sticking that in my craw.
Did I mention the can?
Oh, the can. Well, I have a different connotation of the can when I hear that.
There are
it's
several.
A room in the house.
There are several. Anyway, speaking of stir, and
yes.
You are probably, as a viewer or listener, beginning to stir, thinking that they should be stopping right around now, because I know there's a break built in here somewhere. Every week they stop, they pause for some unknown reason, but we will be circling the drain when we come back. So let's do it and see what happens on the other side.
There you go.
There are many men in the world who have never had the chance to grow a beard. Men whose past beard-growing attempts are something that has brought shame to them and their families, or who work in environments or workplaces where beards are not advised or recommended. But now there is a quick, almost painless way that you can help. Join the Just for Men Beards for Bros campaign and donate your facial hair to those less follically endowed. Just stop in to any salon displaying the Beards for Bros campaign sticker on their window and sign up. The patented beard removal system keeps the positioning of the hair in place, taking just enough of the root so that it will stay vital and healthy until used by the recipient. Your face should heal in a few weeks. Think of how you will feel when you walk down the street and see your Van Dyke, mutton chop, soul patch, or Fu Manchu on someone else's face. Help the follically challenged, facial hair deprived men around the world. Donate to Beards for Bros today.
Rap, 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 rap it up.
And once again, it's time to circle the drain. And I have just a couple of things here that I think are very important, and they're very close to my heart. One of them is the fact that for some reason I'm still getting travel tips from Anthony Bourdain. Now, I don't know if he's the guy that I should be getting my travel advice from, but...
Isn't he the one that died?
Oh, it was quite some time ago. Yes. I mean, we're talking years ago. But apparently he still has some great ideas.
How did you get on that list, dare I ask?
Well, I don't know if it's a list or it's all part of the algorithm, and maybe I like dead cooks. I don't know how they discovered this, but in any case, that was a thing.
That's pretty interesting. I thought of something again during my walk. There's an interesting thing with language once again. The difference between careless and carefree. That's a big difference. One little syllable can make all the difference in the world. And really, when you think of it, if you think of careless, you could mean I don't have a care, but that would be carefree. Careless
I think that if you were not a native speaker and you were learning English, you would say, I'm careless.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things if you're not a native speaker, even for some native speakers who still screw it up. So we won't go there. What else you got?
I was looking again as it seems like all of the information I get that isn't from
your
TV
feed
is my feed. My feed has all of the knowledge here, apparently. Anyway, I came across a product that I think we all might want to use, and then again, maybe we won't. It's a water flosser that is promoted as like a bidet for your mouth.
Oh, no! They actually put that in the ad?
I was trying to think of what the name of that might be. I was thinking the brush and flush, but I don't know. And you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I know that they would not market a bidet as a flosser for your ass.
I would hope not, but
and again, it's out there.
No pun intended.
What else?
All right, the other thing I found the other day, wintertime, dry skin, I'm scratching, I'm drawing blood when I'm scratching my arms and legs. So I started being more aware that I'm going to start using the skin lotion. Eventually, when you use this stuff, you get near the end of the bottle. Then if you can get that last half inch out of the bottle and you're shaking the thing, the pump is useless at this point. Have you had experienced anything like that? Have you come up with a solution? There are solutions, but they're not elegant.
No, there is a solution, and it's called buy a new bottle.
But you're wasting so much.
Well, here's what you can do. This is what I do, is I take the old bottle and I put it on its head.
Yep.
And then I get the new bottle and I use it for a little while. And then when I've used it for a bit, I take the cap off the old bottle, hang it on there, and I let the old bottle drain into the new bottle. And again, it's not an elegant solution, but it does at least allow you to use the dregs of whatever it is. That
I have an upside down bottle on my dresser as we speak.
Are these called first world problems?
They are definitely first world problems. So,
I think we've
on that note,
we've reached the limits
Yes,
of our imagination.
Yes, we have.
And
we have some news for folks, though.
We do. Well, let's hear that news.
Well, I guess I'll share it short. In the course of putting these little episodes up on YouTube, we decided to try to get it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So now you have a couple of other options wherever you get your podcasts. Look for the Dullards Club, and you will, at least for the moment, see last week's episode and this one, and eventually all our old ones.
All right, we have to go. It's time for this meeting to become adjourned, and so it is. We will see you all next time. We want to leave you with this last admonishment. Please, stay dull.
Bye.
Bye now.